All right. Reverie. Excuse me. That's a great start. So, Reverie. I admit I went into this thing and I went into this thing expecting to think it's not very good, especially after all the crap that happened with the crossbow arc. But funny enough, I ended up with one, two, three, four, 5 pages of notes. So let's begin. Let's start with the gameplay, as ever. I've actually got a bit more to say about the gameplay this time. I'm we're back to Cold Steel 3 and 4 combat. I haven't been mentioning the DLC, but it's been overpriced in all of the later Trails games, so that's kind of But I love the fact that so this is basically just Cold Steel 3 and 4's combat again. But that's not a bad thing, as I mentioned back in in last week in Cold Steel 4. From your perspective, obviously. From me, that was like an hour ago. I mentioned that. No joke. Joke. Uh, but yeah, no, I really enjoy that. Right. C's route was also interesting in terms of the way it does. There's good link transfers during not only the beginning of the game but also in Reen's route, so that's cool. There is a few things that annoy me, like the disorders, which were in Cold Steel 4, but I didn't even mention them because the game again, the gameplay was just kind of there. Um, I like the Reverie corridor setup. So that's going to be the bulk of what I talk about gameplay wise. So let's get into that. So the Reverie corridor, right now, obviously back in Cold Steel 2, I hated it, but it was shoved down it was shoved down your throat. It was forced, and it wasn't fun to go through it. Well, this game actually has a few tweaks that make the Reverie corridor fun as hell to go through. Who? Who? I mentioned that it's Cold Steel 3 and 4's combat, but there is one addition they make: the United Front attacks. So you hold uh, the right trigger down, and then that turns the. I have my controller here. So you hold down the right trigger, and that turns the X, square, and triangle buttons into different things. Namely, United Front Attack, United Front Arts, there's United Front Heal. And so effectively what that does is it allows you to do have all of your party members, including your reserve party members, which I believe you can have like 3. I want to say 3 or 4. I think it expands actually in the Reverie corridor, but it's usually like 2 or 3. So you can have 7 people doing damage to the entire enemy party. Oh, and it adds a couple of brave points, which gives you more brave orders options, and 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 you can use it up to like I want to say it's like 2 times. And then you can upgrade your assault gauge so that it can go 3 or even 4 times. Times. Then, and yes, it still gets better. So I mentioned the healing, which removes all the status effects. There's the attack, which does a whole lot of damage, and then there's the arts, where everybody casts arts, arts. There's also, but there's also, man, it's crazy. The break is also here. You're still kind of nerfed, but okay. Um, but oh man, and on top of that, and you can also reset the Reverie corridor so that because enemies don't respawn, and even if you leave a floor of the Reverie corridor. Well, that's what resetting the Reverie corridor is, because then you could do that. Now there is still scaling exp, but here's the best part: the scaling exp is actually accounted for in this game. No, seriously. Not only are there basically level up items in terms of the droplets, the Azure droplets and the Azure Divine Waters. There's also stat boosting versions of those. Those were not as necessary. Harry, they offered too little of a boost. Just because 1 point is 1 and 5 points respectively, it doesn't mean anything, right? Unless you're trying to like max everybody's stats to max. God, I don't know why you would want to do that, but there it is. But regardless, I guess if you wanted to curve stomp the final boss, like the post game's final boss, us. I mean, that could be a possibility. But anyways, um, yeah. So you can reset the thing. Oh, and there's also an option that unlocks later where you can actually up the enemy's levels. Now you might be like, why the hell would you want to do that, Blue Wolf? Scaling exp. Because as you're able to do that, and because the cap is 250, you will never be screwed over by scaling exp. If you want to max out all your characters, you can max out all your characters, unlike the rest of the series. Then there's some fun side modes. Some of them are not so good. I didn't really bother with Vantage Masters, but Palm Party's pretty good. Pretty challenging too in this one. Oof. Oof. Um Magical Elisa. You know Elisa's unspeakable costume from Cold Steel 2? Yeah. Yeah, they actually turned that into a minigame now. Hell, there was actually the magical outfits from Cold Steel 4 as well, which was like, yeah. Oh, God, that was the gameplay is so good. And was so good in this one. Jesus. What else do we got here? This one is actually one of the first ones where I feel like there's a good flow to the gameplay. Hey, too. And the fact that it's just so rewarding to go through the Reverie Corridor even one time. There's also some bonus characters you can get through the gold sealing stone, so there's a little bit of a gotcha mechanic, but it's not. I didn't give a negative for it because, for one very simple reason, it's a finite pool. And on top of that, I know the gotcha mechanic. It's a gotcha mechanic, but it's more just bonus items as opposed to you need these for helping it out. Maybe I should have given a negative to it for just being gotcha, but I don't know. But it's being a uh, shitty version of that. So, let's see. There was some good side stories. I loved the fights in Unlimited Craftworks. That was cool. I loved that little mini tournament. Daydream. That was cool. Um. Yeah. Again, not much for me to say gameplay wise, but again, it's just so good. It's just so good. Good. Like I could seriously sit here and gush, but let me put it to you this way: I actually intend to go ahead and do a new game plus run after maxing my characters, and I mean all of the characters in the Reverie Corridor. Maxing all of my characters in the Reverie Corridor because that's fun for me. I actually have fun doing that. And everybody can get maxed out just from me going through the corridor a few times. I love it. Oh, the exp gain on this is insane and awesome and yes, all of the yes. I love this game gameplay wise. There's a reason why this game scored 104 in the gameplay. For the record, that is the highest gameplay score of the whole series, and is 3 points behind my highest rated game of all time. Which, yeah, from your perspective, will be next week. I've decided that already. That's why you've already had, from your perspective, Blazing Blade and Engage, even though I haven't recorded the Blazing Blade one of that. Or FF7. Or Cyber Sleuth. Or Batman. Anyways, I'll get to those. But this gameplay is so good. Oh, it is so good. So, also, this game's humor is fucking hilarious and through the roof. This is seriously the funniest Trails game in the whole series for me. Big time. Is that it? Well, the sprite work is still good. Is really good. I love the combat animations, and yeah, no, I absolutely love this gameplay loop. So yeah, no, that's it. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just shift to spoilers now because I've not been talking for very long, but again, it's just so straightforward, right? The gameplay loop is so good. It's so good because again, I'm having fun. I'm constantly gaining stuff over and over and over again, right? The corridor has great loot. It has great itemization. Maxing out my characters is fun for me, right? And again, the only thing that I could see would be in a slog would be if I wanted to max stat everybody. I don't know why I would ever want to do that, but I could do that. And you know what? Maybe at some point I will do that. I love this game. I really do. God, so good. I haven't bought the DLC, but that's but there's only like one DLC thing, and maybe I'll tack that on to this review. If I ever do it in the future, but otherwise, yeah, no, I love this game. So let's get to the spoilers now. So spoilers. All right. So there's 3 routes here. That you start on Lloyd's route, and the question needs to be asked: what the hell is the point of Lloyd's story in this game? No, seriously. Now, I love the prologue part of this, admittedly. So the prologue is not included in this complaint, but wow, Lloyd's story sucks. The SSS storyline sucks in this game, but we'll get into that a bit later. For now, let's gush, shall we? So we're playing through the epilogue of Cold Steel 4, and that's awesome because we got to go to defeat the warmongering assholes of the IDF. Because they have effectively taken over Crossbell. And I love that they get screwed over because of an Arc and Seal performance that just suddenly hijacks the airwaves. That was awesome. Loved it. Loved it. So yeah. Then we started having characters show up that I recognized immediately because the sprite work is amazing. Wazzy shows up, Ario shows up, Wald shows up, Scarlet shows up, Noel shows up, Mireille shows up, Dudley shows up, Sergey shows up, Zeit shows up. Then we have the SSS as members along with Yuna show up. Up along with Risha, Yona, Ilya, Risha, Yona, Kia, and Fran, obviously. Then there's that whole sequence. Oh god, the camera work. Or can the animation? Holy shit! So I gushed about the camera work and the story sequencing and all that in the rating video, but to reiterate, the flow of the cutscenes is amazing. Amazing. Like you have this, like for example, when Eunice steals that soul dot, she flies it towards the tower, or she blasts the window, and they all go crashing in. Oh, that was hype as hell. I was adoring that. Yes, somebody who was a huge critic of the Crossbell arc was gushing about a Crossbell storyline. Could that be because of Yuna? Maybe. I don't know. Oh, but all I know is this was awesome. Uh yeah, with the SSS actually working with the Erebonian government, because the Erebonian government can be trusted because it's run by Machias's dad, so that helps. So then there's the idiocy of the IDF, who have basically succumbed to what most people I'm sure most people would consider sunk cost fallacy. We've put too much into this, so we have to keep going, right? Even though it makes zero sense to do so. Yeah. I, because the reason I like this though is because again it makes perfect sense, and even the SSS have the perfect rebuttal, right? Yeah, you don't want your pride, your the pride you've put into this be for nothing, right? We understand pride, and one of the IDF guys literally says, "I don't want to hear about pride from a Crossbellion." Well, who better to hear it from than a Crossbellion, though? When you think about it, no, seriously, think about it, right? So then Crossbell starts to move towards its proper independence, which is good. As I said, I'm in favor of independence for Crossbell as long as it is proper independence. So if Wald is working with Wazi, let's touch on this briefly. I mentioned that I mentioned that at back in Cold Steel 3. Uh, I don't remember if I said this in the Wolf's proper video a couple of weeks back, but it, when you take something that didn't work in a previous game and then you do something with it, that's the game doing something good with the game that does something good with it gets the credit for that. If you understand the distinction, it's the same reason why the lore runner won't give an external continuity plus to, for example, Metal Gear Solid 1 for its connections to Metal Gear Solids 2, 3, and 4. Sense make? So. So the SSS are described as bargain bin bracers. I mean, they kind of are, but at the same time, I talked about the value of that, right? Well, by the way, where I was going with the whole doing something good with it, Wald's growth. They don't whitewash that he did the Demon Walt shit. They just have him grow from that experience, which I like. So then Estelle, Joshua, Lisa, Sharon, Toa, Agate, Tita, Erica, all of that kind of works. Then we got to shift over to Reen's route, because that's when the Trails to Walk feature shows up, and then when Reen, Kurt, Ash, Muse, hey and Claire are all meeting with Teo and Lucia. So that's cool. So that's cool. Cool. I also like that Altina just kind of bows. Did I not write down a note for her? What? What the hell was I thinking? What the hell? Anyways, so which is all good. I like the idea of Rain returning home for some rest. So then Rain and Claire have a heart to heart in the hot springs. Yeah, I know. No, but it's actually kind of a nice moment. Showing that Claire understands she's done a lot of shit, but she's trying to progress, right? She's trying to get better. So that's good. So then Mateus Vander shows up, Kurt's father, and basically challenges Class 7, and so we deal with all of that. It looks like Claire's backpedaling, but really she's just working with Mateus, so that's cool. I love the scene where Kurt climbs up the cliff and is like, "We're not done yet." That was awesome. Hell, Ash even had to comment on it. Now that's how you make an entrance. That was good. So we defeat Mateus. Yes, he's like, "All right, you pass, cool." Then a Magic Knight shows up with a disorder because why not? Which sucks. That was annoying. Then we find out Oliver and Shara are missing. Yeah, that's not going to go anywhere interesting. Just going to go ahead and spoil that. So then C basically claims that he captured Oliver and Shara, basically just to get Class 7 on his tail to kind of point them in the right direction. Hey, go this way. So, yeah. Then Claire's on the phone, so we can't progress Reen's route anymore, so we got to shift back over to Lloyd's. So Wazzy teases Lloyd. I make my most cancelable statement about if Lloyd or Reen's dialogue makes you wet, ladies, then I hate to break this to you, but you're a whore. I stand behind that statement, by the way. The whole Lloyd is a perv for existing thing has always pissed me off, and it will always will. So, yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention Reen's darkness, which will come up a bit later. But, anyways. So then we get to the signing of independence, which Rufus, Dieter Garcia, and Novartis basically crash. Well, Novartis is off in the sidelines, but still. So yeah. Oh, it's now that C claims it after all of that. So yeah, Rufus basically comes in and curb stomps the SSS. Somehow. That makes no sense to me. So Yuna is frustrated by this. And of fucking course she is how many fucking times is Crossbill going to get fucked over? Seriously. Like, what the hell? You know? So that's cool. Then we're introduced to Swin, Nadia, C, and Lapis. I like this. I like C's route. I really do. Because a lot of it makes perfect sense, and it feels like kind of like a, oh, kind of intrigue thing. You know? So then I went with the SSS with Lloyd's route, and Lecter teams up with Lloyd and Risha, because Risha has been caring for Lloyd, and I love that Risha is able to return the words that Lloyd delivered from Ilya back to Lloyd from Azure. That was cool. Then we then we get a scene where I literally was like where I literally was like, oh no, 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 no. Oh, because Ellie pulls Lloyd aside, right, and basically says, I don't deserve to be in the SSS. I'm a piece of shit. Blah 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 blah. And even I was like, whoa, 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 what? Why? And then she says, and then Ellie basically says, I abandoned Kia. Allow me to say this bluntly. No, she fucking didn't. because we see a flashback because as she's explaining this, she flashes back to she tried to get Kia out of there, then she got bumped. She lost sight of Kia, and Kia literally said, "Go help your grandfather. He's hurt. Go. I will meet up again and go." And because Ellie reluctantly went to her grandfather, she claims that that's abandoning Kia. I am one of the biggest Ellie critics I know. I am a huge critic of Ellie McDowell. No, Ellie, you didn't abandon her. Period. Oh no, she got thrown into the river, and she said, "Go after the bad guy. I can swim." Please tell me somebody gets that reference. Ah. I just wanted to comment on that because I commented on it on the stream too, where I looked at her like, no. And again, I'm one of the biggest Ellie critics I know, so there you go. Uh, so then we go and we meet up with Aurier in Reen's route at the beginning of Act 2. And I love that Elise comes in to effectively try to be to effectively try to be our guide, right? And Reen literally puts his foot down and says, "No, you're not coming." This was led to a hilarious stream moment where I'm like, okay, where I heard Elise out and I was like, okay, I mean that makes sense. All right, yeah, sure, why, understandable. And then Rena says no for the dumbest of fucking reasons, and I laughed my ass off at Ash's reaction to this. Oh, here comes the big brother. God, I laughed my ass off at it. Oh God. Oh, that was too funny. That was too damn funny. I was laughing my ass off. And that was on top of me looking at Reen like, why am I the one being nice to Elise? What the fuck, Reen? You know? What the actual fuck? Excuse me. Ugh. And my Bluetooth needs to charge. So I'm gonna put it on the charger while I keep talking. So yeah, and okay, this is where the game really started to make me think I was in a mirror universe or something, because I ended up liking Elise and Claire and giving them both positives because they were actually good characters in this game. Elise's entire way of convincing Reen is to basically look at him and say, "No, I'm coming with you. No, I'm coming with you. With you. I have gone through immense training, even with with Lady Aurier, and I'm coming with you." You know, Lecter. My note says it all. Says it all here because Lecter has a line that he thinks Gehenna has frozen over because Lloyd is willing to work with him, and my note literally says, "I like Elise and Claire here." I think Gehenna did freeze over Lecter. Because holy shit. you know, I have been nothing but harsh on Elise the entirety of the Cold Steels. Like, holy shit. Oh, god damn. Ugh. So then we meet up with Elliot, Eustace, and Milliam. So that's cool. We meet up with Vivi and Lind as well to get some info. We meet with Representative Regnitz and Alphen. Alphen feels like feels like a piece of crap, and again, I have to look at her like, no. Of course, I'm going to say that about Al. It's less surprising with Alphen than it is with Ellie. With Ellie, it's like, oh wow, he can actually be fair. With Alphen, it's like, well, of course, right? So then we head to the Reverie corridor. This is where we start getting into the daydreams. Berry trails, beaten trails, and blaze trails was kind of cool. Kind of a meeting between Risha and Swin and Nadia, and I like the fact that each one thinks the other is like coming after them, but no, it's just literally they just bumped into each other, and it's like, oh, whoops. Nice little slice of life thing with the day in the lives of the SSS. That was kind of cool. Then the routes start to converge because Nadia steals Millium's Arcus 2. And so then we get some gameplay flow as Act 2 we kind of bounce back and forth between Class 7 and C until the confrontation in the graveyard in the cemetery where it is revealed. And I like the touch that it's actually that the mask breaks because of an attack from Eustace, by the way, because it turns out that C is Rufus, the real Rufus. And that ends both Reen and both the Reen and C routes Act 2. So that's cool. So then back over to the SSS, we go and we confront Sao, who teams up with Garcia to fight us. And yeah, it's kind of crap. So then on C's route, C's group meets with Ren. So that's cool. I have a note here that says Crossbell's hope is not false. Because again, because the whole thing that this whole thing is Lloyd's route sucks because it's trying to have this theme of arrogance and recognizing that you're being arrogant. Except that's not what the SSS have been doing. The SSS have literally just been beaten down. And again, some people say they saw it as, they just need to pick themselves up out of the dirt. But the problem is that time after time after time after time, there's like 4 or 5 fucking dialogues from Lloyd or other people that say that the SSS were arrogant. And I fucking hate that. Because they're not arrogant. And Crossbell's hope is not fake, it's bullcrap. Speaking of bullcrap, Nord. Oh god, Nord. So we have this Colonel Dalton guy, right? And his men basically look at Reen and Aurelia, recognize them as the Ashen Chevalier and the Golden Rakshasa respectively, and think they can take them. Because they have been afflicted by fake Rufus's bullshit or something. I don't know. It's really fucking stupid, and I hate it. It's literally just an excuse, to hint at the final boss. And I'm just like, no. And to start that whole assimilation thing. So then we go and we rescue Olivier and Shara, who actually help bust themselves out too, which helps. Oops. Then Zeit and Rosalia come to help, which is awesome. Meanwhile, Lloyd goes and confronts Novartis, which leads to a confrontation with McBurn, or as the case may be, McBot. Because yep, McBurn is a fake, and there's our explanation. The fake Rufus. There's a whole bunch of robot duplicates. Yeah. Which also then leads to the lab exploding, which leads to Noelle saving Lloyd, and that ends Act 3. So then Act 4 comes around, and so then they head through the Rosenberg. Rufus's group heads through the Rosenberg studio. And then they get separated. I love that Ren spots the fake Hayworths immediately. That's awesome. Love it. So good. Then we have Lapis's identity crisis. Now, I haven't really talked about Swin, Nadia, or Lapis yet. Let's talk about Lapis. So, Lapis is effectively a Rosenberg doll that is effectively hosting uh, the administrative, the control program of an AI called Elysium. Yes, that's it. Okay. I was like, wait, did I write it down? Yes, I did. It, you know. And she's effectively got this identity crisis throughout most of the game. And I love that Rufus kind of helps with that. Now, the technical explanation is tracking device, but I like it symbolically that Rufus and Lapis are kind of going through parallel character arcs. It's actually kind of cool. And it all culminates in that identity crisis moment with all of those with all those lapis ones that are just like holy shit, holy shit, yeah, no, oof. I do like that though. So then we encounter the Emperor. Swin and Nadia is villain from the 3 and 9 novel from Cold Steel 4, which is also included in the backstory section because that's who these characters are. I like this. I actually really do. Swin and Nadia are kind of interesting characters, admittedly. Even if I do feel like their character arc kind of resets for a bit there, or after a bit there, but whatever. So then we head. Then Reen's group heads off to Crossbell to try and help figure this shit out. We get a few more daydreams, which are awesome. Down the rabbit hole was kind of interesting, which was how Lammy returned, which was kind of cool. To Your Blessed Future, which was a wedding gift from Blue Blanc to Olivier and Shara, kind of nice. And then Reen's route goes until it meets a masked Reen. Ishmelgareen, our final boss. Meanwhile, we encounter Duval. C's group encounters Duvally on their way to go see Grimwood, who's in this game. And I like the fact that Grimwood doesn't. Again, we're not whitewashing what Grimwood did. He firmly establishes, yes, I belong in jail. So that's cool. Well, he explains all about Elysium after we deal with the Emperor Dogma. Ugh. And then, then there's some other stuff that I've already commented on. So then we get into the Orbital Gear 4 Daydream, and Erica wanting to force Tita to go back to Liberal. I basically claim that this was all of the stupid. Why? Because she's stunting Tita's growth. And I hate it. Which is funny because she does actually end up going back to Liberal, but I'm pretty sure that's more of her free will rather than anything. So, yeah. But eventually she's convinced, and after some, pissing and shitting all over Agate because Erica's got Erica. Then I did Justice Ado, which was actually kind of an interesting team up between Dudley and Machias of all characters. That was kind of cool. I liked that one. Even used some characters I hated in the Crossbell arc to good effect, so cool. Maiden's Melancholy. Shit, I don't actually know what that one is. Some of these daydreams I can recognize immediately, and then some I'm like, wait, what? So my apologies, but I'm going to have to pause and go look it up. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm just going to have that up on the side so that I can look it up if I ever come in. Maiden's Melancholy is the one with Sarah, Claire, and Sharon. It's kind of an interesting one, and you know, kind of a dumb one as well. Just kind of to show that Michael's sister goes to work at the branch campus, so that's kind of cool. But the ones I really want to talk about are the Path Chosen and the Fallen Prince. I forgot to mute my TV. My apologies. the the but yeah, no, the Path Chosen is actually a great examination of Toa's character. I adore Toa in this game, and the Path Chosen really just justifies that love. It's all about her trying to decide her future and the bond she shares with Crow, George, and Angelica, which is just awesome. The Fallen Prince is, of course, uh, showing more of Cedric's fall to the dark side, so that's cool. And then, so yeah, it's all good stuff. Do I have any more that I need to check? No, I know that one. I know that one, and I know that one, and that one's pretty obvious. Nope, I think we are good. Okay, so I can actually turn this off. Just right off. Never mind. I don't need that on anymore. Anyways, where was I? Right. So yeah, Fallen Prince. So then Lloyd he ends up in Mainz and or Mines. I forget how they say it. It should be Mainz really, but with the way it's spelled. But whatever. Mines. Mainz because pun. And this is where all the routes start to converge. This is where we learn Dieter, Sao, and Garcia are all double agents, and we basically start beating back everybody. We deal with fake Rufus. We deal with all of that crap. Yep, it's all good stuff. So then we're introduced to Roy Gramhart of Calvard, Calvard's new president. He is very interesting because he is Osborne 2.0, and you can definitely tell just by looking at him. Yeah, and the way he acts, he's Osborne 2.0. Hell, we're talking a guy who can hack into Ouroboros for God's sakes. How many people do you know of that could actually do that? Right? So then there's Speaker McDowell's speech, each to kind of as the kind of the all right, we got to go deal with this retributive tower that appeared in over in Lake Elm. Um, so then we assault the retributive tower. It's an interesting dungeon. It's fine. And then we go and we confront Ishmael Gareen. This is where we learn about Elysium's flawed logic, because the idea is that the Elysium's logic is Reen should have become Ishmael Gareen, except they changed that, which I feel is just kind of okay. But that shows why an AI should not be made to run things. Funny. Art imitating life, if in a way. Because it's kind of funny how the now a story like this is delivered to us, you know. But no, Reen is resolute. He is going to confront this darkness and is going to win, and I like that. So then we go through some irritations, some good and some bad. Had that, including an awesome the what in my opinion is the best final the best final ground battle in all of Trails. And no, I don't count the post game as the final boss. I count this as the final boss. But it's still good. It's so good. Love it. Uh, so then Rufus pulls a more altruistic Lelouch from Code Geass. Effectively, because okay, the cannon that the Retributive Tower fires is based upon hatred, right? I should turn off my monitor here again. The Retributive Tower's laser is based on hatred. So what's Rufus's solution? People of Samuria, I am the asshole who is behind all of this. Hate me. Now, he obviously doesn't say it as blatantly as that, but he basically starts rattling off all of the things that he's done, and that gets the people to focus their hatred on Rufus, which means because Rufus is at the Retributive Tower, has basically made it so that the blast is going to destroy the Retributive Tower. That's why I say this is a more altruistic Lelouch. He makes this big speech, and that's awesome. So then we go and we save him, and he starts a new path. I kind of like that. I honestly do. We start moving him towards his redemption, but unlike with Osborn, Rufus earned his redemption. That's why this isn't whitewashing of Rufus. He acknowledges he's the villain, and he tried to die as one. But Eustace and Lloyd just refused to do it. Refused to let him. As did Lapis. Nice touch. So then we have essentially the post credit scene. Look back to look forward, which is effectively the post credit scene with Graham Hart hacking into Ouroboros, as I mentioned. So then we get into the post game, which allows us to explore the corridor's depths. So Azoth is, if I'm not mistaken, the voice that has been that has been guiding us and saying, and trying to stop Elysium and all that crap. And then we're introduced to OZ XX, which is effectively the homunculus that looks like Kia. And so essentially we basically go and we try and deal with that because again, yeah, it would be better if she just, vanished, but the heroes are not like that. Let's give her peace instead of allowing her to instead of allowing the remnants of the Septarian of Mirage to disappear forever, you know? We save OZXX's soul, for lack of a better term, and the corridor shuts down. It served its purpose. It saved humanity from a threat that would otherwise have destroyed it. That would otherwise have destroyed everything. I like that. I like that. But we're not quite done because there is the final bit with another Hot Springs Paradise and an unconventional student. I don't have anything to say about the third one, and because that's just a nice little peek into one of the Bracer characters from the Calvard, but this is effectively the preview of the Calvard arc. Another Hot Springs Paradise is effectively Reen getting his ass kicked by apparently by a character named Shizuna, who is also an 8 Leaves 1 Blade style student. Interesting. We'll see how that goes in Kuro. And then there's the unconventional student, which the academy over in Calvard basically gets Ren to be their student council president. And unconventional student is effectively the story of how that happens. With a rich asshole bully effectively learning the hard way that he picked the fight with the wrong girl. Oh, and his political power goes out the window because political power don't mean shit to the Angel of Slaughter. Why would it? And that's it. Less than an hour for this one, but honestly, that's Trails into Reverie. It's good. It's so good. It is so good. This is oof. Gameplay wise, this is peak Trails for me. Story wise, no, but so good. This and Cold Steel 3 are peak Trails for me, just combined. You know? Oh, so good. I love Trails into Reverie. I will play Trails into Reverie again. I almost feel like I want to go play Trails into Reverie again, but unfortunately, I do have a few more videos to record. So, until next time, this is Blue Wolf Alex of the Lore Walker signing out. Have a good one. We'll see you later.